Please raise your right hand and place your left hand on the Bible. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the evidence you're about to give the court in this case be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Get you to state your name and then spell your last name for the court.
I'm Benjamin A. Wells, W-E-L-L-S.
Mayor, you're on.
Yes.
Thank you. Lieutenant Wells, where do you work?
I work for the Horry County Sheriff's Office.
And how long have you worked there?
24 years.
What is your current position there?
I'm a lieutenant over electronic crimes.
What types of things does the electronic crimes unit do?
We take cell phones, computers, and digital evidence and analyze it to identify anything of evidentiary value.
How long have you been concentrating on electronic crimes?
Since 2010.
Did you receive any special training in order to work in electronic crimes or deal with electronic devices?
I have.
Can you describe what you've done?
I have been to the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center in Glencoe, Georgia, and seized computer evidence recovery and digital evidence acquisition specialist. I'm a member of the Secret Service Cyber Crimes Task Force. I've been to the Secret Service has trained me at National Computer Forensics Institute in Hoover, Alabama. I have various vendor trainings and certifications.
What's your educational background?
I have an associate's degree in information technology. I have a bachelor's degree in computer forensics and digital investigations, and I'm currently pursuing my master's in digital forensics.
How much longer do you have in your master's?
Hopefully December.
Okay. Do you teach any seminars or courses in digital forensics?
I do. I'm a subcontractor, and I teach Cellbrite.
Teach what?
Cellbrite certifications.
Thank you. Are you also a member of this Attorney General's ICAC task force?
I am. I do computer forensics for the Attorney General's Office for Internet Crimes Against Children and human trafficking.
So, because you teach it, I am assuming you are familiar with the Cellbrite software.
I am.
And can you tell us what it is?
The software works in a way to forensically pull the evidence or information off of a device and put it in a readable format so it's easier to go through and find stuff.
Is that readable format a report, like a Cellbrite report?
It is. It's a UFED reader report that we generate with the software.
What do you mean UFED reader report? And then is that UFED?
It's Universal Forensic Evidence Device. It's used for there's two separate programs. There's one for the extraction, and then there's one once the extraction is off the device, it is parsed and analyzed and put into that readable format.
Is that readable format searchable by any user?
Yes, the Cellbrite reader, Cellbrite's proprietary, which you have to pay for a license, but the reader is a solution for the software to be able to give for free, so you can still go through it and look at the contents of the device.
Can you search by, for instance, a keyword or look for a photo?
Yeah, there's lots of different search criteria. You can search through words, hash values, and different other categories, and many different.
Has Cellbrite been accepted as a forensic tool in courts across the country?
It has.
Are you, and again, you teach it, so I'm assuming that you've been trained in Cellbrite.
I have.
Okay. How long specifically have you been using it?
I've been using Cellbrite close to 13 years, 14 years.
And you mentioned that you have certain vendor certifications. Do you have any certifications from Cellbrite?
I do.
Can you tell us what they are?
I have a CCO, which is a certified Cellbrite operator, certified Cellbrite physical analyst. I'm a CASA, which is a advanced Cellbrite course for parsing and analyzation. And I also have what's called the CCME, so I'm a certified Cellbrite mobile examiner. It's the highest certification that you can get within the company.
What is required to obtain those certifications?
You have to take the classes and pass a graded test.
Are you also familiar with a tool called Grade Key?
I am.
And what is that?
Gray Key is another extraction tool. It is used to get the data from the device, the same as Cellbrite.
Have you been trained on using that tool?
I have.
And have you received any certifications in that?
Yes, I have the Gray Key certified operator.
Approximately how many electronic devices have you examined using either Cellbrite and or Grade Key?
I would venture into the thousands.
Okay. What do you, when you've said, talk about data on a phone, what do you mean?
Well, of course, when somebody uses a device and it has to have those records in ones and zeros. So it's anything that the user will interact with the device, system interacts with the device, and to be able to see exactly what's on it. It kind of paints the picture of the data on the device.
And when you say extraction, what do you mean?
Well, because we can't you don't want to search a device on the device because then you're altering evidence. What we do is we forensically acquire that copy in order so we can manipulate and work with that, and then we can validate it and verify it against them.
Well, when you say manipulated, are you changing, are you changing any data in the extraction?
No, that was actually a very poor choice of words, but it's not manipulated, but it's to be able to go through it and, be able to see the different categories and see what is exactly there.
Have you ever been qualified as an expert in the field of digital forensics in South Carolina?
I have.
Approximately how many times?
Twice.
And were you asked to extract data from phones in this case?
I was.
Are you always able to extract data from a phone?
I am not.
What affects whether you can extract data from a phone?
Well, there's a lot of different things. It just depends. It could be encryption. It could be passcodes, the hardware, newer versions. We're always trying to fight. We all know that our cell phones, they come up with security updates all the time, and there's just a plethora of things that can keep us from getting in the device.
Are there different types of extractions?
There are.
What are they?
Well, there are three basic ones, which is your physical extraction, which is a complete extraction, physical extraction of the ones and zeros, which has what's called unallocated space. That unallocated space is deleted material. Then there's file system extraction, and that's basically all the files that are in the file system, in the user file system. And then there's what it's called an advanced logical or logical, and it is basically what you see on the device.
Now, when you talk about unallocated space for deleted items, does that unallocated, and I may not be using the right terminology, but does that unallocated space ever get written over so it would be potentially you would be losing deleted advice?
In a physical, yes, in a physical extraction, yes.
Your Honor, at this time I would offer Lieutenant Wells as an expert in digital forensics.
All right, any challenges or questions?
Yes, sir, a few questions. So, it's my understanding, I'm trying to get a feel for this. Which kind of extraction did y'all do? Physical or logical? What was the?
Whatever we can get.
Which extraction did you do? Which type? The category?
It depends on which device we're talking about.
Okay. Which devices did you extract in this case?
Objection, Your Honor. I haven't even gotten to the extractions in this case. This is just about whether or not Lieutenant Wells is an expert.
All right. I sustain the objection.
Okay. All right, let me ask you this. In terms of, what I think I heard you say was you did some physical in this case and some logical, is that right?
It just,
Again, Your Honor.
I'm going to allow that. Go ahead.
It depends on the device. If there's some devices with file-based encryption that you can't do a physical.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about your training. So you're still in the process of completing your training, is that right, in digital forensics? You're looking to get your master's?
Completing my master's, yes.
Yes, sir. Okay. In 2000, we're let's see, 4 years removed. So in 2020, where were you in your educational journey?
Completing my bachelor's.
You started it in 20, takes a while.
Well, maybe my associates in it. Maybe it could be. I'm not exactly sure when.
Okay.
But before that, I'd received trainings throughout from the Secret Service and throughout the Department of Homeland Security in order to further solidify everything. I wanted to put a official degree behind it.
Sorry, I didn't understand that response.
I had a lot of training beforehand.
Okay. All right. That's fair. And remind me what that training beforehand was specifically in.
Specifically I've done trainings in advanced cell phone forensic acquisitions, advanced cell phone analyzation, network intrusion, cyber intrusion.
Okay. And those things sound more to me like, it's just what I'm trying to understand. That training sounds like it is more related to finding out if somebody has committed like a cyber crime. Is that fair to say?
There are trainings within that do that, yes, but this is what we call dead box forensics or mobile forensics.
Okay. What specific training do you have related to extracting data from the phone?
From extracting, I have the CCOs, CCPAs, which were week-long courses with the extraction. I did a 5-week course at the National Computer Forensics Institute in Hoover, Alabama, with the Secret Service to extract devices, and also teach it.
Okay. Are you intending to offer any opinions in this case related to digital forensics?
If necessary.
Okay. Are you here to give us an opinion about the extraction itself, to just confirm the extraction, or are you going to give some other opinion beyond the extraction?
I got to be asked the questions first, right?
I don't know. I imagine you've gotten prepared for this, and you have an idea of what you're here to testify to, don't you, sir?
I do.
Okay. Because I don't have any kind of report from you or anything, or any kind of, that I'm aware of, any kind of specific report.
Objection, Your Honor. The extraction report is the report. And that was provided years ago.
Okay. If that's all right. If that's the basis, that leads me in the right direction. Okay. So now let's talk about the report itself. You, in your studies, are familiar with some of the issues with Cellbrite, right? Some of the public criticism of Cellbrite.
Elaborate.
Are you familiar with any of the criticisms of Cellbrite and its use in criminal investigations?
Oh, there's criticisms on a lot of things. I mean, people have opinions on things. I'm not sure what you're asking.
Are you familiar with any of those criticisms?
I'm familiar with, people, sometimes it's too slow and it takes a long time to open. And
are you familiar with the criticisms related to its reliability, sir?
I'm not familiar with them.
Are you familiar with criticisms related to the inability to recover certain deleted items?
Am I familiar with?
The criticisms related to the fact that there can be deleted material from a phone that the Cellbrite program will not allow to be recovered.
That's not necessarily would be an accurate statement, because it's not necessarily the Cellbrite that's not able to recover it. There's too many variables within that would consist in not being able to recover data.
Okay. You'd agree with me, wouldn't you, that in terms of, there is, one of the other criticisms is that Cellbrite can be manipulated, right? You can manipulate the extraction. Agree with that?
Anything can be manipulated, but it's forensically sound through hash values and matching values to be able to ensure that that data is not manipulated or changed at all.
So when a piece of evidence gets into a digital forensics expert's hands, they have an opportunity, they could manipulate that evidence before it's extracted.
I mean, it would take a lot of, it would be extremely geekified and able to do it.
Okay. But I mean, an expert would have that geekified intelligence.
Possible, but not probable.
Okay. Okay. All right. How about this cross-validation? Did you do anything in this case to cross-validate the extractions that you performed?
I did. I validated the information by going into databases and looking at the actual information and being able to look in other softwares too.
Okay, now I want to make sure I understand this. Are you telling me in the jury that you looked at every image on these phones?
Absolutely not.
Okay. All right. What did you review?
I reviewed different things that were evidentiary value that were brought to me from the detectives.
Okay, so you looked at cherry-picked portions of the extraction, is that what you're telling me?
I validated it.
Okay, so I just want to understand what was going on here. They give you a portion of an extraction, and then you would go validate that? Is that what you're telling me?
It's impossible for me to know exactly every detail of an investigation. That's what the reader is. It's a force multiplier. So in an event where there are massive amounts of data in a cell phone, and being one person being able to go through that, it's not just. You can't do that. It's designed to be a force multiplier so many people can collaborate and be able to come up with with the evidence that is needed in the case, and then it is validated by me.
Okay. So we're in agreement that in terms of whatever evidence, if this evidence is in its pure original form, it is too voluminous to even be studied in completeness.
Objection. What evidence? I'm not really sure.
The extraction. Did you agree with that?
That's why it's categorized and used into the Cellbrite reader, so it's able to be viewed.
Okay.
If you're looking at it as on a computer with a folder and you're trying to go through it by looking at folders, you will never be able to get through everything. Apps are sandboxed, so everything is, within its own app. So that's where the Cellbrite software is able to parse it, categorize it, and make it where you can read it, and you're able to search.
And do you have any? Is Cellbrite software something you have any control over?
Control as.
I'm sorry. Do you know the methodology? Have you been involved in any way, shape, or form with the software Cellbrite, other than using it in terms of like its creation?
No.
Okay. Any of its algorithms? Cellbrite will not share that. Isn't that correct?
It's proprietary.
And so you're having to put your confidence in the actual software and program, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't independently verify that the program itself is not flawed.
That's not true.
Okay, that's not true. I'm asking.
Yeah, you can go I can validate the information. I can go into the databases and make sure that it's reporting the correct information.
Okay. But you can't validate the software itself, right?
That is validating that the software is doing what it's supposed to do.
Okay. Well, the software gives you a product, right? An extraction.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How can you validate it?
I can look at the device.
Sorry?
You can look at the device, but I mean, it's large, yeah.
Okay. So it is extremely difficult, would you agree, to cross-validate the device?
No.
You can cross-validate it in small portions. Is that what you're telling me?
No, I can generate a hash for the entire extraction. And that's what Cellbrite does, is it'll generate.
Objection, Your Honor. I'd like him to allow the witness to answer the question. He was, I believe Lieutenant Wells was still
All
talking.
right, finish your answer.
Well, hash values are a fingerprint. What this does, it's an algorithm. There's certain ones, MD5, SHA-1, SHA-256, and these are basically fingerprints of the entire extraction. And they are generated, and as long as they are any type of manipulation, any type of change whatsoever to that, will completely change the hash value of the extraction. So that's how we ensure that evidence hasn't been manipulated, and that what we're working with is correct.
Okay. But the body that might be potentially manipulating it, the agency or the department, is you guys are the ones who extracted this. I mean, you didn't. This wasn't sent to a third party to verify the extraction. You were doing it in-house, correct?
I don't understand what you mean, third party.
Technically,
I am a third party. I mean, I'm with the sheriff's office. This was a county police investigation.
Okay. So I'm saying you're not SLED, right? Like, DNA samples, we send those over to SLED. Is that
Correct.
okay? Now, you've been qualified how many times?
Twice so far.
Okay. And what were you qualified as in those two cases?
I was qualified as an expert in digital forensics, and I was qualified as digital extractions. I think it was a digital extractions.
Okay. And so those are two different subsets of qualifications. That they're still.
The digital extraction would be part of digital forensics. So the first time I was qualified would have been digital extractions, and then the digital forensics encompasses all of that.
Okay. Let me just make sure I understand. Digital extractions and digital forensics. Which one's the big umbrella?
Forensics.
Forensics. Okay. And you've been qualified as an expert in digital forensics one time?
And one time for that, yes.
Okay. And then and then one time for the smaller category of digital extraction?
Yes, sir.
In the case where you were qualified as an expert in digital extraction, what program was used in that case for extraction?
Cellbrite.
Have you ever been denied as a witness?
I have not.
Have you ever testified in federal court?
No,
Were you qualified in the 15th Circuit as an expert?
I was.
And in those two instances, what was how many phones were you asked to extract in those cases?
I don't recall.
Your Honor, I believe, based on my experience, I would move strike this witness as an expert.
All right. I find this witness to be an expert in the field of digital forensics, so we become this adjourned.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Did you extract data from at least one device in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Was that, well, actually, let me just. Your Honor, if I may approach with admitted exhibit 19. And actually, let me give you the extraction also. approaching with State's Exhibit 92, which I would ask be marked for identification. Admitted for identification.
May I refer to my notes?
Your Honor, may the witness refer to his notes to verify that that is the phone.
Yes, this is the phone.
Okay, just make sure you keep your voice up, please.
Yes, this is the phone,
Okay.
the device.
And how are you verifying that?
Well, first of all, each device has a unique identifier, which is IMEI, International Mobile Equipment Identifier. Our
Just
identity.
slow down a little bit. We're trying to type everything down.
Sorry. And that's basically a unique identifier for the device, which I cross-reference that with the report that's in front of me, or the pictures that are in front of me with the device. I have documented pictures of when I did the extraction, and I verified that the IMEI number is the same.
Okay. And so is 92 the extraction of data that you performed from State's Exhibit 19?
Yes. And
Did you just, yeah.
yes, it is.
And how are you verifying that that is the extraction that you performed?
I validated it before court and initialed this.
Okay. Thank you. Do you need to keep this in front of you just so you're sure what we're talking about?
Yeah, that's fine.
Is there a phone number associated with that phone?
Yes, ma'am, there is. 1-513-252-4742.
Okay. So the area code is 513. You put the 1 in front of it.
Yes.
Okay. Are there any unique personal identifiers associated with the phone? So not the IMEI, but other identifiers.
The owner's name is Mouse, and I believe this was also backed up to a MacBook Pro with the user of Meagan Jackson.
Where did you get that phone?
It was given to me by Horry County Evidence.
Did they also give you the password to the phone?
Yes, they did.
Were you able to extract data from the phone? Well, obviously you were able to extract data because you've identified that already. When you performed the extraction, did you add, change, or delete any information?
I did not.
What did you do once you performed that extraction?
Once I performed the extraction, I took the extraction and I parsed the data in the physical analyzer, which is the program to categorize it to make it more easy to search.
Did you then provide that to the solicitor's office for disclosure and discovery?
I did.
Were you asked, I'm going to jump ahead 1 second, were you asked to examine that extraction and another extraction for specific content?
I was.
Was that other extraction that you were asked to review done by Sergeant Marcus?
Yes, one of them was.
I'm approaching with admitted exhibit 95. Is that the extraction of Erica Dontel's phone that you reviewed?
It is.
How are you recognizing it?
I recognized my signature or initials on the jump drive before I after I reviewed the content.
Now, I think Mr. Britton covered that those extractions are fairly voluminous. So for the items that you were asked to examine, did you prepare excerpts of those voluminous reports?
Yes, I did.
So were you asked to examine, let's start with Exhibit 95, the extraction from Erica Dontel's phone. Were you asked to examine that extraction for any information on her phone of someone trying to expose the affair between the defendant and Christopher Dontel?
I was.
Did you find any?
I did.
And before I get to your first excerpt, does Celebrite categorize data in much the same manner as your actual phone? So it would separate, say, photos, calls, messages?
It does.
While we're doing that, if I can approach Lieutenant Wells.
Correct. Yeah.
I'm showing you States Exhibit 98. Is that an excerpt that you prepared regarding information that word of the affair was sent to Erica Dontel?
It is.
Your Honor, at this time, with the redaction, I would move to admit States Exhibit 98.
All right, States Exhibit 98 admitted into evidence over defendant's objection, subject to the redactions directed by.
Yes. And I've redacted the physical copy. I'm just waiting on redaction of the digital copy.
That's fine.
In what part of the phone did you find that evidence?
This was located in the MMS SMS database.
What's that, for those of us who don't speak that language?
Everything has to be, information is stored in databases, so it's accessible by the applications. And this is where a database is a large Excel spreadsheet, essentially. And it's separated into columns and rows. And this is where it stores that information on the back end to where the application or the device can show it to you the way you see it.
I'm sorry. Court's indulgence, I'm just trying to make sure that the redaction is done. Okay. And sorry. Can you describe what Exhibit 98 is?
This is a excerpt from an instant message conversation.
Your Honor, I have verified the extraction. May we publish Exhibit 98?
Yes.
And so, what are you able to tell what program was used to send these messages?
From the party, the from party, it's registering as contact@textforfree.net.
Are you familiar with Text for Free?
I am.
Can you describe to the jury what it is?
Text for Free is it's a texting application that you can use if you don't have cellular service. It's used to be send text anonymously to where it can't be brought back to you.
Does that show when the first text was received?
Yes, the direction was incoming, so it came at 9/27/2020 at 3:35:27 p.m.
And what is that first text?
Your number is posted on the special ed curriculum I thought you should know I found out your husband has someone else pregnant.
And what's the next text?
The girl that is pregnant is Meagan. Ask her. Then redacted.
Let me go back to the first text that was sent at 3:35 p.m. And I'm going to show you. Your Honor, I'm approaching the State's Exhibit 156. Is that an excerpt of the extraction from Erica Dontel's phone showing a reaction to the first text for free message?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time I would move to admit State's Exhibit 156 in public.
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
You say yes?
Yes, sir, Your Honor. Yeah, yes, sir.
State's Exhibit 156, admitted into evidence without objection.
So, and this again was from Erica Dontel's phone.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a date and time stamp for that first text message? This needs to move as fast as possible. We have an emergency.
Yes, ma'am.
And what is it?
I'm sorry.
What is the date and time stamp?
9/27/2020 at 3:40.
So about 5 minutes after that first text for free text?
That's correct.
Okay. Let me go back to exhibit review. After that, first text at 3:35, did text continue to come in from the Text for Free app?
After the 3:35, yes.
When was the next one?
5:45, 23 p.m.
And what does that text say?
The girl that is pregnant is Meagan. Ask her, question mark.
When did the next text come in?
The next text would have been at 7:25 on 9/27.
And what does that say?
Meagan Jackson, Chris Dontel, Savannah Rice, Josephina Nakawatsa, Flight 4652 Myrtle Beach, September 24th, 7:01 a.m. Flight 1944, Jacksonville, 10.
What was the next text?
Next one was 7:25 on 9/27. Ask her neighbors how often his. It's cut off on this one.
And why would the text message be cut off like that? Why weren't you able to recover the whole thing?
Well, this is in a timeline, so it would have cut it off. It could have. There's a lot of different reasons that it couldn't have pulled it.
What's the next text?
It's a link for https://ibb.co/BQHR82R.
Okay, and what is IBB?
IBB is a image hosting site.
What do you mean?
Well, if you want to share an image or without directly sending the image, you can upload it to the site. It'll create a link for you, and then you can just send that hyperlink.
Did you, in fact, follow that link or type that link into a browser and try and pull it up?
I did.
Which is the same text conversation from someplace else, without forecasting my questions, but this version is easier to read.
Okay, all right, that's the thing, this is so small.
Right, but this is from the website. This is from the website, so we can't control the quality. 98A is from the IMGDD website, so that's how it pulls up. We have no control over the clarity of that.
But I mean, if I can't read it, how can the jury read it?
Because this is the same conversation, and you can match up the readable portions of the blue portions here. I think are the ones that are difficult.
So 98B
B,
is just a larger printed form of 98A.
from a different source. It'll be clear after I ask my questions, but,
Well, let's proffer it then.
okay, all right. I'm just gonna give you 98A and 98B. All right, so is 98A the image that you accessed using that IBB link?
It is. It is.
Just have to say that out loud. And then, were you able to find that same text conversation in the defendant's phone?
I was.
Is that what's depicted in 98B?
It is.
And how are you able to tell that it is the same text conversation?
Well, I can actually kind of turning over B. I can read it. I make it a point of spending time with you, and I love spending time with you. I like to have sex with you. I make it a point of avoiding Erica, and she makes me sick. And I don't have sex with her. There isn't a comparison. So I can actually identify the first text message, and then when I come to the report,
And Your Honor, if I may, can we pull up the digital version of 98A? Ms. Waller has it on her computer, and it appears more legible than the printed version.
Well, I mean, how do I know that that's that? I mean, 98A, I'm looking at it, and I can see the first thing, the dark blue that's printed in light blue, I can't.
Well, you'll be able to tell it.
Your Honor, we'd be able to.
Hold for a second. You're going to have, I mean, I don't have any problem with the way the proper testimony.
I understand that. The only problem I would have with the proper testimony is I don't really understand, but maybe it's just me, where he is claiming that message whatever he was just reading involved sex, where it came from. Because that sounds like it's not part of the extraction, which is what he was qualified to testify about.
Well, I understand the second one, 98B, came off the first vote.
Right, so-
That's first.
That's
So I didn't mean to interrupt you, you're right.
Right.
So Exhibit 98 was the text for free texts that were sent to Erica Dontel. One of those texts contained an IDB link. So in order to show that that text conversation existed in the defendant's phone, Lieutenant Wells just typed in that link, like anyone can do. Like, this is what you would get if you typed in that link. And it pulled up that photo of the text conversation. Then he looked for that text conversation on the defendant's phone. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You're
So
right.
that's sort of what we're trying to prove.
I understand.
I don't be disrespectful, but I feel like he should be excused during this conversation.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to allow it.
Hold on, could I just be heard on it? I think what they're trying to do, as I'm hearing it on now, and I think it's extremely prejudicial and very misleading. If they're attempting to say that Meagan Jackson sent the anonymous message to Greg Rice through this conversation, which is about sex, which is unrelated, and that is extremely misleading and improper.
Well,
I'm going to overrule it. I'll allow it.
Okay.
thank you.
Could I have some time to try to read that myself?
We're also trying to reprint it, but if you wanted to look on these computers.
You can definitely read it on
And John, just while I'm having a chance here, as we're in the break, this isn't anything, in terms of a confrontation clause issue, this is not a position, nowhere in their report have we ever been provided any kind of summary or conclusion or idea that was sent by Meagan Jackson, that the anonymous message was the machination of Meagan Jackson. That is a new position they have taken at the start of this trial. And now they've come in and qualified an expert to try to link that without her having any opportunity to confront that. It's completely improper.
Overruled, I'll allow it.
Okay. Thank you, Ron.
Pat, I want to apologize for keeping you in the jury room for so long, but we did have some matters we needed to address. All right, State can continue with your direct examination.
Okay, can you bring up 98 again? So this line 8, this, because we did take a long break, can you explain IDB.co again for the jury?
IBB.co, it's imgbb.com. It's
Slow
basically
down a little bit.
it's a web hosting for images. You can upload an image. It'll create a link to be able to share it.
Do you know whether those links are ever duplicated? In other words, would two, okay, you're answering. So there would not be, say someone uploaded BQHR82R, and then do they have the ability to take it down?
Yes, they can. I believe it can be taken down.
And then if someone else uploaded an image, would that file name ever be reused?
No.
So looking at line 8, did you go to that link, IDB.co, with that file name?
I did.
Okay. And is that what's depicted in 98A in front of you?
It is.
Your Honor, I would ask that 98A be admitted.
All right, you've got
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
State's exhibit 98A admitted into evidence without objection.
And may it be published, Your Honor.
All right.
Thank you. What is that?
Image link, well, image link is the address, basically the same as the web address. It's the web address for that image and the
So
page.
that's the link that was contained in the text for free text?
Yes, that is.
Okay. Can you show the text itself? And then zoom in a little bit. You're making it your Were you able to find this same text conversation on the defendant's phone?
I was.
Is that what's depicted in 98B that you should have in front of
It is.
you? And Your Honor, at this time I'd ask that 98B be admitted and published.
Any objection? Yes, sir, Your Honor. 98D, State Exhibit 98D is admitted into evidence without objection.
We'll go page by page, just so, let me get it up. All right, so what is this first page of 98B showing you?
This first page is, there's multiple extractions for multiple devices. This is just identifying the device that the information came from.
And so which device did this come from?
This would come from the phone number 513-252-4742 and the IMEI last 5862.
Right, is that, and there's no snake, so is that the defendant's phone?
It is.
Yes?
It is.
Okay. And, okay, yeah, just the first couple holes. So, and is this, are you able to print out text conversations sort of in different formats from Celebrate? So like this is, I always call it the bubbles,
Yeah.
because I like the bubbles better.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did you compare this text conversation in 98B with the one in 98A?
I did.
And they appear to be the same?
They are.
And what is the date of this text conversation?
9/15/2020.
I can. That's just a thing which extractions from, so that you can explain what it means. This is what excerpt. Your Honor, if I may approach with State's Exhibit 100. Did you look through the extraction from the defendant's phone to see if there was any, I'll call it IDB or IMGBB activity on her phone?
I did.
Did you see any evidence of such activity on her phone?
I did.
Is that what's depicted in Exhibit 100?
It is.
Is that an excerpt from the full extraction?
It is.
Your Honor, I'd ask that Exhibit 100 be admitted.
Any objection?
Mr. Your Honor.
All right, states exhibit 100 admitted into evidence without objection.
May it be published, Your Honor.
Yes.
Okay, can you just explain to the jury what they're looking at?
In the readable format, it puts it, if you'll see where types is, that it came from the notes application.
Like this?
And I'm sorry?
I was just showing, because some jurors are looking over here, so.
Oh, I'm sorry. So the event is that is the contents within the notes, and this is a list of different IBB.co web pages and web addresses.
I'm sorry. Okay, did you then, does this tell you when that list was created?
9/27/2020, 7:01:56.
And what does the modified date and time mean?
It's whenever the created date was whenever the actual file was created, but the modified could be when it was changed or deleted.
Did you then go to each individual IBB.co link to see what was there?
I did.
Where's the buttons? Sorry, Your Honor, there are quite a few links. When you went to those individual links, did you create exhibits of each link?
I did.
Your Honor, Your Honor, you can see I've been handed a pretty decent number of exhibits. I'll take my best to go through them. It's just, I just want to keep everybody awake.
Look, these are simply those links that were provided many years ago, just plugged into the search engine.
Your Honor, just my initial, without going through each one of these, each of these is, there's no date on these documents. I don't know what date this is pretending to have been from.
How are we identifying those?
Your Honor, so that would be 100 A through S, I believe it is. And each exhibit corresponds in order to the IBD.co files that are listed in that notepad.
I just want to make sure I understand, is it the testimony that says created on 9/27/2020, that all of these were created on that date? Is that, is anybody, okay, yeah.
She's just showing you what she's getting ready to show the witness and have them testify to.
Yeah, Your Honor, unfortunately, there's some things we need to take up outside the presence of the jury based on some here. I hate it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll excuse you back to the jury room, leave your notepads in the box.
Right on the table, so if you get a low connection, and then also the screen is extended, so if it shows up and it looks like it's not showing up on these screens, just turn it to the right.
Not that one.
Oh, wait, this one up here. Yeah. So, yeah.
Oh, it's opposite. This ought to be.
Welcome back. Make sure you have your own note cards. All right, you can continue with direct examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Let me just go back to this. So you went over that this shows that it was created on September 27th, modified on 10/2. First of all, what is the significance of the date of October 2nd in this case?
That'd be after the crime.
Pardon me?
Be after the crime.
The date.
The day of the crime.
And then the modified date and the fact that it's showing deleted and trash, what does that mean?
That's most likely, that's when it was modified and the file was moved to the trash.
Now, when in the course of your analysis, review of these items, did you go to each individual IBD.co link?
I did.
Did you create printouts of what you found at each link?
I did.
If someone went to that link today, in all likelihood, would that image still be there?
It will.
Your Honor, at this time, I would like to approach with exhibits 100A through 100S. If you can review those, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Are those the printouts that you created from each of those links?
They are.
If we can start with 100A, please.
Wait a minute, is that what we did that?
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you. Your Honor, I move for admission of exhibits 100A
and I haven't had a chance to say it yet. I want to have a chance to lay the foundation. This says created on 9/27. This witness cannot and has not testified to the date those images were actually created. That is not an accurate date in terms of creation of those documents. And he can't do possible for that to be true.
100 extra, 100 as admitted in evidence of defendant's objection.
Okay, and just to clarify, that create a date, is that for the notepad entry?
Yes, that would be the date that the note was created, not the links.
Okay, so let's, may I publish them, Your Honor? I apologize.
Yes.
100A, please. Okay. So, can you just explain what we're seeing here, and especially the bottom part, if you need us to scroll down, I guess we can do that.
Use my little.
And you can use your pointer,
Use
and
my
that
little pointer.
should show up on all the TVs. I think you have to use, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, use that one, it might be easier for you, and it'll show up on all the screens.
Okay. All right. This right here is from the link. If you can, Your Honor, may I stand up and point to the screen?
All right, as long as you got it in your microphone, or the court can pick up the testimony.
This right here is the image link. This is the same as the link that is in the notepad. And this would be the file name. And the embedded code, this is the link in the HTML where you would reference it in the web page or when you would share the document.
Sorry, I just need to, if I can approach your Honor, something from different information. Okay. There is, next to the embed codes, well, I'll point over here, you point it there. There's something that says about. Does that have the potential to give you more information about that image?
It does.
Okay, so we can go to the page of this for that. Is this the information that comes up when you click that about link?
It is. This is exit data, which is,
Can you spell that for the court reporters?
exit is EXIF.
Okay. And what does that mean?
It's actually data that is about the image. It's basically data about data. It contains things from the date and time of the original, the manufacturer of the camera, GPS coordinate location. So when you get that information, you can also go back and even tell, even up to the exposures, whether the flash was on, and just a lot of information about the image itself.
So for 100A, does it first tell you, let's start with the date and time of the original.
The date and time of the original was 9/29/17/01/21.
So September 29th at 5:01, sorry, I have to subtract 12.
That is correct.
Okay. Does this tell you what type of camera took that phone?
It does.
Took that photo, excuse me. What kind?
The manufacturer was Apple, and it was a model iPhone XS Max.
What is the model of the defendant's phone that you extracted?
iPhone XS Max.
Well, I'll go through all the exhibits first, and then we'll just go through the next set. Where applicable, because you have the hard copies, if there is that extra data, just.
I don't mean to interrupt that. I just want to go so I can see that. Actually, sorry. Is it okay if I stand up here? Just hold it so I can see your receipt.
Block yours.
Just don't
I'm
block
not
it.
blocking it. I'm not blocking it.
All right, go ahead.
So if you can go to 100B, and as I said, if you were able to get that extra data, just let us know.
I was.
tell us about this image?
This image is also one of the the image link was included in the notes. I can also say that it was the manufacturer of the camera that took this picture was an Apple iPhone XS Max, and the date and time of the original is 9/29 at 17:01:27.
And if you can just, sorry, can you say September 29th in the time? Otherwise, it's like a
September.
whole lot of numbers, and I want to make sure we're getting the date and the time separate.
September 29th.
Okay. Just scroll up to the 30th so they can see. Okay. And that's where you were getting that date created in the camera
That is
information?
correct.
Okay. 100C. What can you tell us about this image?
Again, same, this is image link. The image was from the notepad on the device. And again, the manufacturer was an Apple. The model was an iPhone XS Max. And the date and time of the original is September 29th, 17:01:41:2020.
And just to save time, when you are giving us that information, that means that that third page is there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. 100D.
Also in the notes, this was an Apple iPhone XS Max. This was created on September 29th, 17:01:2020.
I have a lot of demand. I'm going to ask that you wait until the exhibit goes up first. Sorry. What can you tell us about this?
It's also from the notepad and the link. This was also created with an Apple iPhone XS Max, and it was created on September 29th, 2020 at 17:02.
100F.
Again, this is from the notepad, and this was also created with an Apple iPhone XS Max, and this was created 9/29/17:02/2020, or September 29th, 17:02.
100D.
Again, from the notepad, this is an Apple iPhone XS Max, And this was created 1703, September 29th, 2020. Again, from the notepad, Notes app, Apple iPhone XS Max, created on 1703 on September 29th, 2020. Again, from the Notes app, it's a manufacturer's Apple iPhone XS Max. Date and time is September 29th, 2020 at 1703.
Jay?
Again, from the Notes app. Again, it was Apple iPhone XS Max, September 29th at 1703, 2020.
Okay, let me just pause you for a second. At the top of this photo of a text message, there appears to be a phone number, correct?
Yes, ma'am. It'll
You
be,
may not know. Do you know who that phone number belongs to?
I'm not sure, no.
100K.
$100K. That is also a link from the Notepad app or Notes app, and this also came from an iPhone XS Max on September 29th, 2020 at 1703.
L.
Again, from the Notes app, and it's also an Apple iPhone XS Max. The date and time is September 29th, 2020, 1703. Again, from the Notes app, Apple iPhone XS Max. This was at September 29th, 2020 at 1704.
N.
Again, from the notes app. It's also from an Apple iPhone XS Max. This was at 9/29, or September 29th, 2020, at 17:04.
So far, pretty much all on the same day around the same time?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh.
Again, this is also from the Apple iPhone XS Max. This was September 29th, 2020 at 17:06. All right, again, from the Notes app, this is the Apple iPhone, it's from Apple iPhone XS Max. And date and time original was September 29th, 2020 at 17:06. Q is also from the Notes app. It was also an Apple iPhone XS Max, and the date and time original is September 29th, 2020 at 17:06. R is also from the Notes app. And it also came from an Apple iPhone XS Max on September 29th, 2020 at 17:07:11.
Last for this set, S.
Okay, this also came from the Notes app. It also came from an Apple iPhone XS Max, date and time September 29th, 2020 at 17:08.
Now approaching with 100A2 through S2. Were you able to find each of those images on the defendant's phone, which was an iPhone SX Max?
Yes, ma'am.
If you could just look through those and tell me if those, I'll do that.
Okay.
Tell me if those are the excerpts of your,
These
you need those?
go on to you.
Start looking through those. I'll do this.
Yes, these are the excerpts from my report.
And where on the phone did you find those images?
They were in a temporary file that was associated with Safari.
Can you explain what that means?
A temporary file it's where an application will store a file temporarily for it to use. It could be temporarily there until it's downloaded. It could be temporarily there when it's uploaded. But it's just a temporary holding spot for a file.
I think we can go through these a little bit more quickly. I'm sorry, actually, Your Honor,
I need to take a look at them. I just
All right.
told me where everything was really cool. I was going to object to that just in terms of, I don't know if there's been a proper foundation laid for the timing of these, creation of these documents. I don't, so I'll make that objection on it. But without that, otherwise, you can let me know, but I'm going to object to them on that basis for the record.
All right. States Exhibits 100A2 through 100S2 are admitted evidence of the defendant's objection.
Let me clarify one thing before we go through those. These photos are just the photos from the ibb.co links that were in the notepad, correct? Not from any sort of
Correct.
communication. Okay, so we'll try and go through this a little bit more quickly. Does each exhibit show when the particular image was created?
So far, yes.
This is my point.
Yes.
Yeah. So what I'm asking is, can we just fast forward to the third page of each exhibit? Okay. So 182, please.
This will be 5:01 p.m. on September 29th, 2020.
And so can you just describe for the jury sort of like the layout of the screen and where you're finding created?
Okay. Right here, under images is where it was, is the timestamp of the capture time. It shows that this right here, this application ID right here, this long 7FE79950. If you will scroll up, please. It shows that that's the mobile application ID for Safari. Okay, scroll back down, please. So it's found in that Safari folder, in a temp folder, and the name is actually the same on the device as it is on the IMGB Beast website, with the format that IMDb uses. It does throw in a couple extra hashes, but all the digits are the same and the hash mark.
Okay, and are these, when was this created?
This was created on 9/29/2020 at 17:01.
September 29th?
September 29th, 17:01.
Okay. E2. And if, just to kind of make this more efficient, if there is one where it's not in the temporary files, but I think you said they all were, but if we can just sort
Yes.
of jump to the creative date.
Again, this one was in the same temporary folder, and it was created on September 29th, 2020 at 17:01.
See? No, C2, sorry. My fault, C2. was this created?
Again, September 29th, 2020, 1701, 41.
Also stored in the temporary?
Also stored in the temporary. The naming is the same as the item BD.
B?
All right.
E2. E2.
Again, same camera make, camera model, created on September 29, 2020, 1701, and 50 seconds.
E?
Created September 29, 2020 at 1702:01.
F? F is the record.
Again, camera make Apple iPhone XS Max, September 29th, 2020 at 1702.
G2?
September 29th, 1703, 2020.
H?
September 29th, 2020 at 1703.
I? 2?
Created on September 29th, 2020 at 1703:29.
J2?
Again, this is created on September 29th, 2020 at 1703:36.
K? 2? K2?
September 29th, 2020 at 1703:46.
L2?
September 29th, 2020 at 1703:55.
N2?
September 29th, 2020 at 1704:19.
N2?
September 29th, 1707:29.
O2? So far, these are all being created within the span of 5 to 10 minutes, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Created September 29th, 2020 at 1706:01.
P2?
Created September 29th, 2020 at 5:06:31 p.m. Created September 29th, 2020 at 5:06:51 p.m.
R2?
Created September 29th, 2020 at 5:07:10 p.m.
Your Honor, I'm going to move on to another topic, so I wasn't sure if you wanted to break for lunch.
Yeah, we'll need to go ahead right now.
Oh, I didn't do S? I thought I did. I'm sorry, one more, S too. I apologize, Your Honor.
September 29th, 2020, 5:08:11 p.m.
Sorry, now I'm moving on to another topic. You want to break?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and break for lunch. We can go ahead and jury box. We do have lunch coming for you again today. We'll come back at about 2 o'clock and resume then. Don't discuss the case even among yourselves. We'll have good lunch and we'll see you back at 2 o'clock.
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Your Honor, just a housekeeping matter. Speed the trial, she's not required to, but it would be, if we're gonna have this again, if I got a chance before or during lunch to see what's next for him. It's gonna be voluminous, I'm sure we'll take it more time to jury, if he has it, put through it, if not, it's fine. So,
I'll put together whatever y'all work out.
Okay.
All right?
Judge, on planning, are we gonna go through the day, all day, so we need to be prepared?
No, we're going to be coming back next week, so I'm not, this series, we'll be breaking a little bit. All right?
The rest of it should be shorter, Your Honor. This was kind of the large majority of this testimony.
I mean, put it this way, I don't know what time we're going to break for the day, but if you're coming back next week, next Tuesday anyway, there's no need to keep the jury here late this evening. All right?
Yes, sir, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Hope everyone had good lunch. We're ready to resume the trial of the case. Make sure you have your own notepads and no one else's notepads. Ms. Walker, you can continue with the direct examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Were you asked to examine the defendant's phone for other evidence that she sent proof of the affair with Christopher Dontel to anyone?
I was.
Your Honor, I'm approaching with State's Exhibit 135. Lieutenant Wells, do you recognize that exhibit?
I do.
Is that an extract or an excerpt of the extraction report from the defendant's phone?
It is.
And, Your Honor, I would ask that Exhibit 135 be admitted.
Any objection?
That's right, Your Honor.
All right, State's Exhibit 135, and then without objection.
And, Your Honor, may we publish it?
Yes.
Thank you. need more of the page shown, but can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what this extract and support, excuse me, from the report shows?
This shows an account that was accessed, a Google account that's hgabe2210, and it's under the passwords where it is kept in a keychain where it doesn't necessarily show the passwords, it shows the encrypted version of a key, but this was created on 9/27/2020 at September 27th, 2020 at 6:47 p.m.
Okay, and so is this showing the creation of the account or the password?
This is just showing that it was accessed, the account was accessed on this device. It doesn't show the creation time of the actual account.
Okay, and you're saying, did you say that the password is stored in a keychain?
Yes, keychains, not necessarily the actual legible password, but it's in the keychain, P list.
Is that like now, it saves the password so that you don't have to fill it in every time, or what's a password keychain is this?
That's Apple's secure place to store passwords, and if you own an Apple device, you'll see that you get the option to store things to your keychain, but the keychain P list still logs those entries.
So when was that account accessed with the stored password?
September 27th, 2020 at 6:56:47.
Okay, and then, while you're looking at that, I'm just going to show you admitted 95, so you remember the extraction. I'm approaching with admitted exhibit 95. That would be previously identified that as the extraction from Erica Dontel Stone.
Normally, difficulty here is just seeing what's in the attachments.
If we're going to get that, that's 99.8. I can't blow that up at all.
Okay. If I can't identify what it is, I can't agree to it.
I mean, that's already in it.
No, 95 is that I showed them. That's the extraction. These are just excerpts from the extraction.
Yeah. So how does that identify?
This is 99. All of the exhibits that Lieutenant Wells is testifying to are portions of the extractions that were turned over to the defense 3 or 4 years ago.
So you say that's part of
99 comes from 95. 95
is
yeah.
already in it.
Yes, 95 is the extraction from Erica Dontel Stone.
I don't have 95. 95 is not in it.
I have that it was entered through Sergeant Marcus.
You're right.
Okay.
All right.
So 99 is simply a portion of 95.
Well, State's Exhibit 99 of the defendant's objection.
Your Honor.
Yes.
And so then, Your Honor, may we also publish it?
Yes.
Do you recognize Exhibit 99?
I do.
Is that, as we have been saying, a portion of the extraction from Erica Dontel Stone?
It is.
Okay, so can you tell the jury what we're seeing here?
What we're looking at here is an email. The subject is Chris Dontel Affair. And in the body of the email, it is proof that Chris Dontel is having an affair with Meagan Jackson. Meagan is pregnant. Attached is text and pictures the two have shared. And then under the attachments, there are 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 images.
Okay, and then What is the date and timestamp on that email?
October 1st, 2020 at 7:30.
Can you tell who the email was sent to?
There's a glare on the screen, sorry.
Read it from the exhibit.
It's Erica D'Angelo at gmail.com, Miss Dontel at gmail.com, Miss Dontel at gmail.com, Colton's mom at gmail.com, D'Angelo2 at Colton's mommy coupon, and Aaron
And you said that that email contains a number of attachments.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you then go through and create or print out each of those photo attachments?
Yes, ma'am.
Did I ask you what email account sent that message?
No, ma'am. But it came from
What email sent that message?
a
Is that the one that the defendant's computer showed had been accessed with the password from the keychain?
the mobile phone, yes.
Obviously, you recognize
Yes, these are the larger images of the images that are in the email, contain the attachments.
Did you, as you accessed those photos, did you then look to see if you could find those same photos on the defendant's phone?
I did.
Did you find them on the defendant's phone?
I did.
Did you create exhibits that are portions of the extraction report from the defendant's phone showing where they are located?
I did.
Yeah, that's fine, no problem. I'm sorry, I'll be adding in my order.
Your Honor, I'm approaching the witness with 99A2 through 99J2. Do you recognize those as the excerpts of the extraction report from the defendant's phone that you printed out?
I do.
Your Honor, at this time I would ask that 99A2 through 99J2 be admitted in public.
Any objection?
No, sir, Your Honor. No, sir, Your Honor.
Statement judge 99A2 through 99J2 in evidence.
Okay, Lieutenant Wells, I'm going to do it a little bit differently this time, so I'll talk about 99A and then 99A2, so we're on the same image. Does that make sense? So can you start with 99A, once it's up on the screen? Is that the first attachment from the HDA 2210 email?
It is.
And then going to 99A2. Okay. Does this page show where you were able to find that photo on the defendant's phone?
It does.
And does it show what date and time that image was created?
Yes, October 1st, 2020 at 7:26:51 p.m.
Going to, sorry. B2. Okay. Is that the second image? This is 99H. Oh, B.
That's big.
That says it should find. Okay, I'm sorry. 99B. Is that the second attachment from the email?
It is.
And going to 99B2. Does that say what date and time it was created on the defendant's phone?
Yes, it was created on October 1st, 2020 at 7:27:11.
Is that before or after the HDA email was sent?
This is right before. Yes.
You still have Exhibit 99 in front of you, right?
No, I don't have 99. That's A.
You should still have it.
Let me give it back to you. 99A2.
There it is on the screen.
Yes, it was before the timestamp for the email being sent was 7:30.
Same
24.
date, but-
Same date, October 1st.
Okay. We see C. 99C.
It is.
And C2? At what date and time was that image created on the defendant's phone?
Again, it was created on October 1st, 2020, 7/27,
Still before the email was sent?
roughly 3 minutes before the email was sent.
D? Is that an attachment from the HPA email?
It is.
And D2? When was that photo created on the defendant's phone?
October 1st, 2020 at 7:27:42 p.m.
99E? Is that another attachment from the email?
It is.
E2? What date and time was that image created on the defendant's phone?
October 1st, 2020 at 7:28:06.
F? 99F? Is that an attachment from the phone that you printed out?
It is.
Excuse me, from the email. And then F2? What date and time was that image created on the defendant's phone?
October 1st, 2020 at 7:28.
Again, still before the email was sent.
Yes, ma'am. 2 minutes before the email.
99H. Is that an attachment from the HK email?
It is.
G2? What date and time was that image created on the defendant's phone?
That would have been created on October 1st, 2020 at 7:28:53.
You may have to start speaking up a little bit because I think the skies have opened up outside.
Uh,
99H. Is that an attachment from that email?
It is.
H2? When was that image created on the defendant's phone?
That would be October 1st, 2020 at 7:29.
99I? Is that another attachment from the email?
It is.
99I2? defendant's phone?
This would have been on October 1st, 2020 at 7:01.
7:01?
Yes, sir.
My name is Meagan. This is the last one from this email. Is that the last attachment from that HK 2210 email?
It is.
Page 2. When was that image created on the defendant's phone?
It was created on October 1st, 2020 at 7:29:47.
So essentially all of those attachments from the HK 2210 email, did you find having been created on the defendant's phone prior to the date and time that the email was sent?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll take this out. That's all right, I'll put them in order. And there's the 99 I was looking for. Did you also examine the defendant's phone for relevant text conversations between the defendant and Christopher Don Bell?
I did.
So the jury heard testimony about a package that Dontel intercepted and gave to the defendant. Did you find any text messages that seemed relevant to that?
I did.
I'm approaching with State's Exhibit 155, and if you can look at that and tell me if it is an excerpt of the extraction report from the defendant's phone relating to the package.
It is.
Your Honor, this time I would ask that Exhibit 155 be admitted and published.
Any objection?
No, sir, Your Honor.
It states exhibit 155, and there is evidence of that.
It's not. Can you read those texts, please? The text is a little small. And if you can say who the speaker is.
Okay. From the owner of the device, which is listed in the contacts as HMMMMMM. Go home, watch your mail, meaning your mailbox. I remember this one time he was, David Colson does this. Do you want me to?
There's a curse. That's what he's just.
You're asking the question.
You can read it. I mean, you're not cursing at the court. You're reading the text.
I remember this one time he was fucking with his ex-wife. He wouldn't hesitate to put something in your mailbox.
What's the next text?
From the same. Plus, he texted me, which means he's off work. He should have had enough time to get to your house. I would watch it for the next couple of days.
And then who is the response? Is there a response to that?
There's a response from the contact 33381 or 1844, which is Chris Dontel, that says okay.
What does the next bubble say?
Also, I'd be careful with you not being home. He might stop by if he sees just her and knows for sure I'm out with you. If it is him, chances are he'll have the balls to confront her if he's that pissed off.
Okay, and what is the date and time range of that text conversation?
This was on 9/28 or September 28th, 2020, from 3:53 p.m. to 3:58.
After seeing that text message about the package, did you find any relevant location data on the defendant's phone?
I did.
I'm approaching with State's Exhibit 101. Is that a portion of the extraction from the defendant's phone with relevant location data?
It is.
Your Honor, at this time I would ask that Exhibit 101 be admitted and published.
You need to action.
Yes, sir.
So exhibit 101 is admitted into evidence, presentation.
And then just scroll down so you can see. Yeah, like that. So, can you tell me what lines 1 and 2 show?
This shows a location from her device in the native locations. It's in the SQLite database right ahead log, and it has GPS coordinates of where the device was, and it was where the device was, and it was visited, and it gives a time it was there until.
Sorry, I'm just going to start over here. So, that's indicating that it was visited,
Correct.
and then is the time, so September 30th from 1:34 to September 30th of 2:09? That's what?
Correct.
In the position column, what does that indicate?
That is the latitude and longitude of where the device is.
You can now scroll down to the next page. What does this line 3 show?
This is a location data that comes from a search in Google Docs, or I'm sorry, Google Maps, that searched the name FedEx Office Print and Ship Center, and it returned back the GPS coordinates.
What is in the last column, and then I'll have Riley scroll back up so we can see what the heading is.
That is whether it has been deleted or not.
So does the yes indicate that it was or was not deleted?
It indicates that that record was deleted.
Did you then run those GPS coordinates just through Google to try and find what was there?
I did.
I'm approaching with 101A and 101B. Did you create printouts from the internet of WhatsApp application, those locations?
I did.
Are those copies of what you found on the web?
They are.
Your Honor, at this time I would ask that exhibits 101A and B be admitted and published.
You need to action.
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
All right, so exhibits 101A and 101B are admitted into evidence, presentation.
Alright, so what does 101A show?
101A shows the GPS, the latitude and longitude, and a pin of where that, when searched, that latitude and longitude came up.
What was at that location?
This one is a FedEx office over off Seaboard Street.
Reports and motions for a minute. Perfect. Can we go to the second page of that? I can go that. Just scroll. Is that also just from the Google Street View?
It is.
Okay. We can go to 101. So is this from the second set of coordinates?
It is.
What's at that location?
The UPS store package ship.
Okay. Did you examine the defendant's phone for any text conversations where she might have suggested that Greg Rice revealed the affair?
I did.
I should say, did you find anything that seemed to suggest that Greg revealed the affair?
I did.
Did you create an excerpt of the report showing what you found?
I did.
Thank you.
I'm approaching State's Exhibit 153. Is that the excerpt that you prepared?
It is.
Your Honor, at this time I would ask that State's Exhibit 153 be admitted as published.
Yes, sir, just under the rule of completeness, Your Honor, we're getting excerpts here, and that's okay to some extent, but if we're gonna, we'd like to have the complete conversation from these dates included for the jury's consideration.
On cross-examination, you can put in the entire conversation. All right.
Thank you.
All right, State's Exhibit 153 admitted into evidence over defendant's objection.
And can be published, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. Can you read this text conversation, please, including who it's to and from?
This is from the same HMMM, the owner of the device. Just talked to Greg, you busy? Then next, he goes, okay, well, she goes, okay, well, Greg does know I'm knocked up, and he said he would tell Erica to her face and would have a long time ago if he got the chance, but he had said he hasn't yet. He also said it's not him texting, and then just tried to make a cover for himself when he talked to Savannah. From the 1844 number, which is listed as Chris Dontel, double homicide, call you in a couple minutes. And then back the response from the owner, it's been more than a couple minutes, men, and I'm panicking. You're not going to be able to lie. He doesn't care, and he has enough proof.
And what is the date and time on that text conversation?
It would be September 28th, 2020, from 8:52:06 p.m. to 9:27:19 p.m. on the same date.
Did you also search the defendant's phone for text messages that indicated a potential plan to harm Greg?
I did.
Did you create an excerpt of the report of the relevant evidence that you found?
I created an excerpt, yes.
One thing. I'm approaching Your Honor, State's Exhibit. Don't have that yet. State's Exhibit 151.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that the
This is.
excerpt that you created? Your Honor, this time I would ask that Exhibit 151 be admitted and published.
I'm sorry, did you respond to this excerpt?
So you keep your voice down.
Any objection?
Yes, sir, Your Honor. This is impermissible character evidence, subjection under Rule 404.
Can you hand it up to the judge?
151 is admitted into evidence of the defendant's report.
And I think I'll Your Honor. Thank you.
This is a text excerpt from, including conversation from the owner of the device, and the number listed is Chris Dontel. From the owner, it goes, "The want and the doing is two different things. Hopefully it's slow for you again. Why don't you text me later when you want to eat? Greg Pub not getting kids today. He pissed at me." And this was sent on 9/28/2020 at 9:13 a.m. Still, but he being polite, "I'm all for popping a tire on the highway or cutting a brake line on him." From Chris Dontel, his reply was, "Unfortunately, I am too now."
Thank you. We heard court's indulgence for a moment. There had been some testimony about a text from the victim to the defendant about a storm coming. Did you search for that conversation?
I did.
Were you able to find a relevant text conversation?
I did.
Did you create an excerpt of the extraction from the defendant's phone showing that conversation?
I did.
This is not being admitted at this time, is that right? Or are you trying to admit it now?
I am going to try and admit it through Lieutenant Wells.
You understand, this is, at this point, identification, you're not submitting it in this amendment.
I'm showing it to you in this moment so that you
Yeah.
can see it.
I'm
and
going to
then
have some
I'm
objections, is all I'm saying. I'm going to have some objections to this document going into evidence under the same rule we just discussed, it's going to be under 404, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I'll show you State's Exhibit 157. Again, this is an excerpt of the report that they have had for years. Sorry about that. I'm showing you State's Exhibit 157. Is that the excerpt from the data extraction from the defendant's phone showing a text conversation that includes a reference to a storm is coming?
Trying to find what page it's on.
Your Honor, do you need to talk about that?
I think it's the last page.
Okay, yes.
Is that an excerpt that you created?
It is, yes.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, I'm double checking to make sure. But I would ask at this time that Exhibit 157 be admitted.
United States Exhibit 157 is admitted into evidence over the defendant's objection subject to the redactions that we discussed. Okay.
And Your Honor, just to be efficient, I can have him start reading this, but I want to just. Anywhere there's that, we're redacting. Anywhere there's a screenshot because you can't see it.
Okay.
And who is this text conversation between?
From 1-843-650-150, which is G, and
G,
the owner,
letter G?
and the owner of the device,
Okay.
which is the XS Max.
Okay, you're going to have to speak up.
All right.
There you go. Can you start at the top of the conversation while we're waiting to complete the redactions and just say who is
All right.
sending the message and who is responding?
From G, is it okay to come and get the kids? Reply, they are not home from school yet. G, okay, then I'll go home, take a shower. Thanks, just text me when they're ready, please. Hope your day is going well. The owner, kids home, just text when leaving.
Okay, and just for clarification purposes, the owner of the phone is Meagan
Meagan
Jackson.
Jackson, yes. Actually, to G. Actually, they can stay today and tomorrow since no school tomorrow. From Greg. Well, I haven't made it home yet, so I can just head that way. It'll be about a half an hour when I would arrive. She replied, okay, that's fine. Stay or wait till tomorrow. Either way is fine. Greg, I have no problem with them spending the night tonight and tomorrow if that's okay. Reply, that is fine. When can you, Greg, when can I pick up the kids? I hope your day is going well. She replied, I'm on my way back. I left this morning for a call in Aner and haven't been home yet. They've been giving Savannah a hard time and trashing things. As soon as I go home and make them clean up their mess, they can go. Greg replied, he just texted me, hey, just text me, please. She replied back, okay. You do have a better or more cooperative dick when you're high. From Greg, WTF. From Miss Jackson to Greg, that was not supposed to go to you, nor was it supposed to come out like that, so I'm glad you got it. It was supposed to say more of a dick and not a cooperative. From Miss Jackson, if you can pick up kids by 5, I have a body in NC waiting for me to pick up. I need to leave by 6. Hello? Is that okay for that time? Again, I have to let Chuck know.
Those were all from the defendant?
They were. The replies were, sure, I'll be there at 5, so no one even had lunch. Ms. Jackson replied back, no, they refused to do anything today, and I don't really care. Had you not got them today, they would have had dinner and straight to bed. Dakota took Part 2. She pissed in cups and had the dogs drink it. He replied, well, where else is she supposed to piss when Savannah doesn't let her out? And it's quite apparent that you don't care. From Ms. Jackson again, excuse you. As soon as I walked in at 4:47 p.m., she asked, and I said, you're leaving in 10 minutes. Wait till you leave. This was when Savannah had her out with the other two cleaning the upstairs, so she wasn't even in her fucking room. She made her go back in the room after she went into Savannah's room and took her shit and messed stuff up. So go ahead and run your fucking mouth again. Greg replied back, okay. She also said, she texted back, also, Blake was told not to let Rocco out while you were here, and he could give 2 fucks less and let him out anyway. Greg replied, okay. From Ms. Jackson, you know it doesn't matter how many fucking days I take off and spend the day with them. The second that I actually have to work, they turn into little assholes. I don't know if that's because I let them go back and forth between my house and your house and things aren't the same, or if they are all just need to go to fucking boot camp. Just got to this again. This is Miss Jackson. Just got to reception. Just got to reception again. Me and Savannah broke down in Asheville. Chuck's sending us another driver. Van won't be fixed until tomorrow. From Miss Jackson, you can call Chuck if you need to, but we won't make it back till tomorrow. And going to miss our flight today, so trying to figure out how I'm going to make it to court Friday. Greg replied, funny, because the kids said you were leaving this morning. Once again, I don't heed people's warnings that warn me you were going to F me over again and do this asterisk. But I love my kids so much, I want to be with them all the time. From me, Miss Jackson, we were supposed to leave this morning. It was 12:50 we leave and wouldn't get there till 5:29. I just lost $2,000 in plane tickets. Thanks for being an ass about it. From Greg, okay. Oh, but I'm going to lose my F asterisk job because I have nobody to watch my kids. So no thank you. Miss Jackson replied back, call Chuck. It was not planned. I'm losing $2K like I said, and I still have to get to Ohio. From Greg, why would I call Chuck? Is he going to watch the kids for me? I'm right down there. It would have been nice to get a call last night or whenever instead of night, or right before I walk out the F asterisk door to take the kids to your house. How convenient. She replied, thought I would make it back, didn't know. I has to wait for Van. Then fell asleep, about to lose reception. From Greg, when are you getting back? Weird, Chuck's not answering his phone either. Miss Jackson, that's because we had an autopsy this AM. So did I. He should answer when he's done. I'm not sure I still have a figure out Ohio. From Greg, when are you going to be home today? ETA. I need you to take the kids soon as you get home because I've got to look for a new job. Hello? I have bad service here. This is from Miss Jackson. I don't know. I have to make it to Ohio before Friday somehow. I'll also have to wait for van to be fixed. Chuck's driver coming to get Bodie. Your body. Sorry. From Greg, well, I hope you're home by today. Otherwise. According to Chuck, not till tomorrow now. I open cans of worms because I have nothing to lose now. Sorry, but I guess I'm just not cooperating. I should be happy I lost my job. From Ms. Jackson, I told you first text, car being fixed tomorrow, and I still have to get to Ohio. I told you first text, again, I told you first text, car being fixed tomorrow, and I still have to get to Ohio. From Greg, what court date do you have tomorrow? Meeting at, Ms. Jackson replied back, meeting a judge, no hearing set yet. October 5th is court. Why? Greg asked, trying to figure out what is going on. I don't see any court dates from the last time you said you were there. Sorry, I don't trust a word you say. Everything is always riddled with half-truths and half-lies. So I'm going to start letting people know the truth. From Ms. Jackson, first of all, it's under a trust we meet a lawyer, which mine quit. Papers are at home, asshole. I can show you when I get back. So fuck off. It won't come up by searching my name. From Greg, well, the scheduled court for October does, but not just talking about court. Supposed to meet her tomorrow. From Greg, sorry, wrong person. From Ms. Jackson, I'm not, and I didn't make it to Ohio. We are coming back, but won't be back till later. From Greg, Kay, be safe. Are you going to be home tonight so I can drop them off in the morning? From Ms. Jackson, I am taking my time coming back home. Won't be back till tomorrow evening, stopping by a FH and sating in Charlotte tonight. Awesome, you really did cost me my job, thanks. You told me you'd be home later, so I told my boss I'd work tomorrow. Thank you, trying to salvage my F** life, unreal. All I can say is wait for the storm. From Ms. Jackson, I never said when, I said later. From Greg, God be with you in your travels. Enjoy yourself. From Ms. Jackson, actually, I specifically said I am not coming back today, but we didn't make it to Ohio. If you read the first text I sent. From Greg, tell it to God. Huh?
Get some more. Thank you.
Thank you.
What is the date of that text conversation?
Scroll down a little bit. Beginning on 9/22/2020. Until 9/25/2020 at 6:43 p.m.
Okay, and now if we can go to admitted exhibit 98. I'm not gonna make you read that much.
Hope so.
6, that entry that has some flight information. Can you read it? What date is the flight out of Myrtle Beach?
September 24th, 7:01 a.m.
So during the time period of the conversation you just read?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, I have no further questions. If you just answer Mr. Burton's questions.
So were you asked to look at Chris Dontel's phone?
I was asked to look at several devices, but I can't remember if I did. I don't believe I did Mr. Dontel's phone.
So as we sit here today, there's information that you could or could not cross-validate related to where Meagan Jackson was, location data-wise, and Chris Dontel. You don't have that information.
I'm sorry, I didn't
Well,
hear that question.
Well, here's what I'm asking, sir. When, on 9/30, in September, on 9/30, when Meagan Jackson goes to UPS and FedEx, Chris Dontel is with her. Are you aware of that?
I testified to the data on the device. That's on the device that's analyzed.
Okay. So you're not aware that the two of them were going there to try to put a stop to anything coming from that?
I'm the digital. I do digital evidence, sir. I'm not the investigator in the case, so.
All right. On those dates you were showing us and times you were showing us, everything I got from y'all had two different kind of time periods. Sometimes it would be accurate, sometimes it would say UTC. On the ones that were shown here today, were those the time shown on the document, or were those not yet converted from UTC?
Which ones? What did
Y'all
you
showed.
show me? Which ones were
Yeah,
UTC?
I'll give you an example. Find one.
What exhibit are you showing?
I'm gonna show them 153 and 157. It says UTC in the top.
Where?
Right up there. On that.
Right here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's UTC -5, New York. That's local time zone.
Okay, it's -5. So on some of mine, it said -5. I had to do the math myself, and on some, it was already done for me. So
Which ones did you have to do it for? Did you have to do the math on them?
We're
No.
talking about
Let
thousands.
him ask the question.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're talking about thousands and thousands of documents. I guess what I'm asking you is there any way for us to know? See here, 155. Time zone settings, UTC. Let's see how it says that.
That's just the yes, sir. That's just the summary. That's the name of the time zone at UTC that shows the setting right here. Again, is UTC -5, New York, sir.
Okay, so does that mean that the it has
It means-
been subtracted from it, or you have to do the subtraction from it?
No, it's in the local time.
If that's converted time, we're saying. One of the things I couldn't get a grasp on, isn't the time flow this way? Erica Dontel gets a message on the morning of 9/27. That's the first time she receives information about the affair between Chris Dontel and Megan Jackson. That's your understanding?
I mean, I don't know what the first time what she knew. I know what the data that was on the device that I testified to, because I don't know what she would know.
The time of it's important is that morning, wasn't it? Sir?
Exactly what morning?
I would have to see.
On the morning of September 27th. The the morning of September 27th, Erica Dontel received the first indication that there was an affair going on between Meagan Jackson and Chris Dontel.
Is this the email you're talking about, or are you talking?
Yes, sir.
I don't know, sir.
You on that? All right. Because right after that, what's sent to Meagan Jackson is a message from Chris Dontel.
Objection, Your Honor. Counsel's testifying.
All right.
It's not testifying.
Okay, well, Your Honor, I'm having to explain to him the fact that he can, I'm asking the fact that he can deny it or he can respond to it because he likes. I don't think it's an improper question. I didn't get the question now.
Your Honor, if I may respond.
As we sit here today, do you have an understanding of the sequence of events in terms of the information Erica Dontel received related to the affair between Meagan Jackson and Chris Dontel?
I have a basic understanding of the sequence of events, yes.
Okay. All right. You would agree with me, wouldn't you, that the first information Erica Dontel received about the affair was on the morning of 9/27?
I cannot testify to what was the first information that she received, sir. I mean, I do digital forensics. I can testify to data that is on the device. I mean, I don't know what she knows or what she was sent, or I don't know any of that. I'm not the investigator on the case.
You are the Cellbrite. You've been put forward as the second digital forensic expert and Cellbrite analyst. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And I've just watched you testify, and every time I heard you testify, there were dates and times given in your testimony, what was sir?
That is correct.
Okay. And so I'm trying to go back and rehash some of those dates and times with you, and I just want to see if you understand. So
Okay.
as we sit here today, can you clarify for us what time Erica Dontel received her messages on 9/27?
On 9/27, when she did,
Yes, sir.
without the exhibit in front of me, we've
Okay.
been through so many. But
Okay. And then, as we sit here, do you have information about what Chris Dontel did with that information?
I wouldn't, that's beyond my scope,
Okay. But you were looking at Meagan Jackson's phone.
because it was provided, yes.
Okay. Okay, so you would then know that Chris Dontel sent her that information that Erica had received.
That Chris Dontel sent.
Chris Dontel sent that information to Meagan Jackson and said, look what's been exposed.
If you could please show me, counsel.
You looked at Meagan Jackson's phone, right, as part of your extraction.
I did.
At 9/27, on 9/27, September 27, at 10:30 p.m., Chris Dontel sent Meagan Jackson a couple of lengthy messages, which included the information related to Erica Dontel.
Objection. Counsel is testifying.
Go ahead.
Without the report, without an excerpt showing me exactly what you're talking about, that one phone extraction is so large, it's impossible for me to know all the data, the dates, times. I mean, with all due respect, I mean, that's a lot of information for me to recall off my head. So if you would please show me a portion of my report.
Marks for identification, Your Honor.
Coroner may be approached.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Coroner may approach the witness.
Yes.
I'm going to hand you what has been marked. This is Exhibit 4 for identification only. Could you look at that and identify in the green bubbles if there appears to be information being sent to Meagan Jackson?
I mean, this is a visual representation of what it would look like from the data in the device.
And it's a time stamp, like a little time signature on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You share that time with us?
Which one, sir? All three?
No, just the first.
He can't.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, yeah, evidence if he's going to testify prompt.
Oh, yeah,
You can give it to him.
Is this
to refresh
refreshing?
his memory.
Is this-
He
Let me see
can't
it again.
tell what's on.
Yeah, yeah. Take a chance to look through it.
Okay.
Does that refresh your memory as to what information or that information in large fashion was sent to Meagan Jackson from Chris Dontel on the evening hours of 9/27?
It does not.
Okay. Thank you. In reviewing Meagan Jackson's phone, you would have seen other messages. Because I've seen, you just testified to a number of messages. Isn't that right, sir?
That is correct.
And part of that was to try to help you get context, is my understanding. Is that right, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so it would have been important to you, I imagine, that on 9/27, that Meagan Jackson reached out to Chris Dontel to let him know she would try to help him figure out.
Objection, Your Honor.
Still testifying. Ask your question.
Are you aware that Meagan Jackson contacted an IT professional to try to help her figure out, try to help Chris Dontel figure out?
I'm not allowed that. Go ahead.
Contacted an IT professional to try to help Chris Dontel and Erica Dontel figure out where the 927 message had come from.
I'm not.
Are you aware that Meagan Jackson tried to help Chris Dontel and Erica Dontel figure out what platform had been used to send the message that was sent on 927?
Repeat that, please.
Are you aware that Meagan Jackson tried to help identify the platform that was utilized to send the anonymous 927 message?
No. No, sir.
All right. You read some messages between Meagan Jackson and Greg Rice. Is that correct?
I did.
Are you aware that Meagan Jackson eventually confronted Greg Rice about the 927 message that was sent to Erica Dontel?
I don't recall right now.
Okay. All right. Okay. Someone, beg the court indulgence, please. You're aware that on 9/28, Meagan Jackson told Chris Dontel that she was not comfortable.
Objection, Your Honor.
It's,
You said you read messages, you read messages between on Megan Jackson's phone, is that correct?
That's correct.
Do you recall seeing any messages where Megan Jackson told Chris Donatello she didn't want to do this anymore?
Objection. And move to strike, Your Honor.
What's indulgent? Yeah. So as we sit here today, just want to make sure it's clear, you agree with me that you've been presented with kind of cherry-picked information from the text messages between Megan Jackson and Greg Rice. With that?
When we do reports and we do extractions, the UFED reader report that's for a force multiplier, so everything, as I testified earlier today, that these extractions are extremely large, so the more eyes on it.
Okay. No further questions, Ron?
You're right.
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
All right, give me a second. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a long week. We're going to go ahead and break for the week. We're not going to be able to get this. We're not going to be able to get through with this trial today. We still have a ways to go.